Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, we hear from the Secretary of Community Development and Culture, Dr. Denise Soyafat-Angus, and the Assistant Secretary for Agriculture, Marine Affairs, Marketing and the Environment, Hayden Spencer.
At present, we are dealing with the fishing depots, the fishing markets, as you all will call it. In the area of Charlottesville, we have built a temporary fishing facility, and the fishermen have since occupied that temporary facility. Demolition has started on the old building, so in the very near future, construction of the new fishing facility at Charlottesville will commence. The fishing facility at Bell Garden Bay, 100% completed and to be opened very soon. At fishing facility at Lambo, 90% completed. That we should be able to use that facility within the next 2 months. At Castara, there was a temporary facility built. Last week, Friday, I handed over 20 keys to fishermen to use that temporary facility to facilitate the construction of the new facility, which will commence very soon. The other aspect of the Fisheries Department I would like to highlight is the annual fishing tournament, which is the development program of the Fisheries Department. It is due to come on stream, as usual, in June of this year. What we are going to see this year is a new and improved fishing tournament with exciting prizes and a lot of novelty events. So we are looking forward to serving the public in those areas in the department. I also want to highlight that plans are on the way for the improved Bucco Reef Marine Facility, the Marine Park, the management of that Marine Park. Plans are on the way to improve the management of that park. There is just one little issue that I want to deal with in the Agriculture Department with respect to the payment of daily paid development workers in the division. These workers has outstanding payments of about 2 fortnights. And the department has done everything within its power to assure that by the mid of next week, all these outstanding payments will be made to these workers.
We have just been through a hectic Easter season, and therefore I would like to really congratulate all of the participants in the Easter festivities, all of the events that, and who would have made it a success, and not just a success for the event being on the island, but in terms of attracting significant numbers of persons, tourists coming from both domestic and abroad, and even those returning residents to Tobago, those who no longer live in Tobago. There are many persons who were visiting the island this weekend, and we want to say thanks to those out there who would have staged many of those events. And those events included various Easter pageants, church activities. We had the Donnie McClurkin show and Sunfest, the 30th anniversary, and it would have been the first time that the division would have partnered with Sunfest to actually have the event come off in this way. In addition, we had the Canby Mount Pleasant Sports. They were in their 41st year, and also the Bucco Goat Race Festival in their 88th year. Unfortunately, we missed the visit by the president, who could not stay with us or come to see the event anymore due to his daughter who was unwell. But certainly we would like to congratulate all the winners in the event, and to say that I think over the Easter weekend, the division itself would have, or the THA would have contributed, I would say, more than 300,000, perhaps 400,000 to the events across the board on the weekend. But there's always room for improvement, and I am sure, with the, various events that we contribute significantly to, where we collaborated on in terms of the Mount Pleasant and the Buku Goat Race and also Sunfest, that we are going to be meeting with all those stakeholders to determine how can we begin to improve the product for the next year, and to ensure that we continue to captivate our ready audience and to attract many more. Unfortunately, it has not been all about excitement and fun in the division, because over the season we also lost a member of staff. And in addition to losing a member of staff, we had members of staff actually lose other family members. And therefore, I want to send condolences to the families of the Hectors, Cook Wong, and George, and to say that you continue to be within our thoughts. Moving on, I'm coming off of the Easter weekend. We had a pre-jazz experience where there was a collaboration between the Division of Community Development and Culture and the U.S. Embassy, where they would have sent a group of jazz musicians to Tobago. This group apparently has been going to Trinidad for the last 4 years, I believe, and this is the first year that they came over to Tobago. They actually were able to put on a master training session earlier in the Saturday, where we had about 35 persons, mostly students, who attended that session at Bishop's High School and felt that it was a very worthwhile activity, that they seemed to have learned a lot from it. Following that, in the afternoon, they actually had a concert at the Botanical Gardens. We called it Jazz on the Green, and we included many local artists, and then followed by the visiting contingency, and many persons were very satisfied with both the local presentation and the visiting team at that event. And therefore, I personally would like to thank the administrator and the staff for all the work that they would have done in terms of putting together the event and making it a success. We also have the initiative called the Night Market within the division, where the division goes to various communities and collaborate and partner with communities, the village councils, in creating a market atmosphere at nights, and where you have the various craft persons come out, the vendors come out, and therefore whatever is unique to that community is also showcased on that weekend. And we would have hosted an event of its kind in Buku the Friday night before as a prelude to the goat race on Easter Tuesday, and that event was quite a success. You had a little bit of goat racing, you had the buccaneers playing their pan, you had a lot of the vendors from within the areas coming out and cooking and also showing their craft, and that was actually a successful event. And it was successful enough that actually there's a private group, again asking us to come out and assist with mobilizing the vendors, where they have now provided, I believe, they're going to be doing a film show but they're asking us now to come out and provide the mobilization for the vendor support. And really that is what it is about. Communities seeing how they can gather their own resources and create a product out of it in terms of, providing space for merchandising and enjoyment of the culture. The next night market space that we are also going to be moving to is the one in the Corland area. Again, partnering with the Black Rock Village Council to provide one there. And we expect that that night market would be about the first weekend in May. I don't have the exact dates yet, but we are sure to keep you updated. After that, we would like to go to the Bon Accord area to also host one in that area. But night market is not the only thing that is being done. Around the island, there are other village councils that are putting on various activities in collaboration with the division. And I am pleased to note that Speyside had a successful launch of their Zumba dance class last Monday. And I believe they had about 30 participants at that class, and that is expected to continue on a weekly basis. They're also this Friday launching their new Senior Citizens Club, and we expect that that would also be a well participated. We will have a lot of participants also in that activity. I know that everyone probably would have read the issue with, or known about the issue with the Delaford Community Center. Yes, there is a problem with the water at that facility. Apparently the facility, the utilities in terms of the water was not paid for, in the last 10 years. Somehow the bills didn't get to either the village councils nor the division. It did not come to the attention until the bill was over 100,000. And the Division of Community Development and Culture would have gone in to assist with paying the first part of the bill for about $40,000. There's still another outstanding part for $60,000. And we hope that with the next set of releases, we can begin clearing that bill. However, we do recognize that we have to put some measures in place and policies in terms of the water usage at our community center and the facilities. Again, unfortunately, in Speyside, Glamorgan and Bell Garden, we understand that T&Tech has cut the services there. And in the Speyside, given that it's a new facility, that facility is still with MTS, and so we have contacted MTS to have them go ahead and repair and pay that bill and have it reconnected, and we hope that that will be done pretty soon. In the case of Glamorgan and Bell Garden, and perhaps many of our community centers around the island, the challenge has been that the bills do not seem to get either to the village council nor to the division. Recently, when this would have happened at one of our other centers, persons from the staff from the division have gone in and attempted to find a way to get the bills sent to the division. That process, that system is still being worked out. The challenge, though, is the fact that T&Tech has usually do not contact us to say, hey, we are going to cut off a community center. And, that is a little bit of a challenge for us. But we will continue to work through those issues and make sure that we can get the lights back on at the facilities as soon as we can. On a good note, we have a number of community centers that we are going to complete within the next month. We have the Bethesda Community Center and the Betsy's Hope Community Center. These will be completed by the end of the month, and hopefully within end of this month, and hopefully within the next early May, we will have some commissioning exercises begin. We were fortunate since my last briefing with you to have the Y zone of the Scarborough and Environs Commission. This is located at Calder Hall, and the Y zone is an initiative where we have youth. It is a youth space provided that youth can own, manage, operate for themselves with some peripheral support from the division, and run programs that lift awareness and education within their own flexible time periods. And so we would have commissioned the Scarborough and Environs about perhaps 3 weeks ago, and the next one to be commissioned would be Argyle and its environs. We also have the walk-in centers, which is an initiative between the 211 service and the Division of Community Development and Culture, where we would be outfitting various community centers in terms of, finding a space within or adjacent to the community center where we can outfit a program with a bank. Most of them have a bank of about 10 to 12 computers, and in addition, other fax machine and other and copiers where persons can go in. There are actually tutors there also, so persons can actually go in and get assistance with learning how to use the computer, but also utilizing it to assist them in their business in any way for a small fee in terms of using the other facilities like the fax machines and the copiers. And really this is important in terms of helping our communities to develop and making sure they're not left behind where technology is concerned. And so those that we would be looking at commissioning would be the Buku at the Buku facility and the John Dyer. We also have some refurbished health centers that have, community centers that have gone through significant refurbishment, and therefore we will be having some reopening exercises for those. And I believe one of those would be at the Calder Hall Community Center. I hope to have the new board of the Festival Commission soon installed by May 1st. And so as soon as we have that put in place, we will let you know. But it is getting in preparation for our next leg, which would be the heritage festivities coming up. Lastly, I would like to report that I did meet with Minister Dr. Lincoln Douglas, and it was a very cordial meeting. We actually had a few laughs throughout the meeting. It was very light. And we came up with a few areas of collaboration that we thought were important between us. And, in terms of cultural exchanges, he shared with me that they will be traveling to China and Africa, and perhaps some of these places that we can, add persons to that list in terms of getting our Tobago persons, taking the Tobago culture out there, and also getting our persons, our young people from here exposed to various cultures. And so we are going to actually be discussing more on that level along that focus. And the other issues that we spoke about were really copyright issues in culture. We know that our culture, not just in Trinidad, but even in Tobago, we have some parts of our culture that are very unique. And so copyright and copyright issues is very important in the discussion for us in terms of going forward with our cultural policies. And again, sharing in the discussion on the arts and multicultural policy is one of the other areas that we will be discussing, along with grants and subvention committee, which he indicated to me would have been one that would have been in place for a number of years. But when we have actually started one at the division, and we are looking to see how we can begin strengthening it, and he has agreed to share some of those policies and to include us in some of the training programs in terms of how we're going to go forward with that.
You spoke about the Catastrophe temporary fishing facility, and some of the fishermen said there's not enough sinks to clean fish and so on over there, especially now. I think they're catching a lot of fish now and flying fish, so that was one of the complaints.
Yes, I went in there last week Friday, and that complaint was made to me, and I spoke to the president, and we had agreed that makeshift in the meantime while the planning and implementation unit will deal with the additional stores. They have decided that they will build a few wooden ones temporarily and utilize it by the time. So we all sort of agreed on that.
Okay. Dr. Angus, the lands for me, we went up the lands for me recently, and one of the issues they had is the fact, I think they're saying they're probably the only village that doesn't have a health center. The community center doubles as a health center. Do you know if anything is being done to give them a health center separate from the community center, or why is it that that's the issue there?
When you're looking at, you know, there are many villages that would have been determined to have outreach centers. It's not every village that would have a health center, because you have to look at the size of the village. We also have to look at the resources that we have. And if we continue to spread our resources very thin, then you would not have enough resources to service your core product. And therefore, Lansomi is not one of those that I am aware of that is carded to get a health facility. But they're determined to be an outreach facility where you still find a space to provide a service to the community, and that space was identified within the community center. That is not the only space where we have had collaboration with Health On. I believe it's the Patience Hill Community Center. The Golden Lane Community Center has also had a similar sharing experience. So they have outreach centers, and that is how we have, we have ensured that at least, some sort of prevention and wellness program can reach the people out there. But I believe that they have a health center just down the road. Is it at Bloody Bay or Palatuvia? At least at Palatuvia, there's a health center there.
With respect to the issue with the band leaders, can you give us an update as to how far they have reached with their negotiations with the new committee that is to be set up?
Okay, I am still awaiting the band leaders to return to me. Remember, I would have given them 90 days, and I believe that 90 days would sometime be in some part of May. So at that time, they will come to me with an update. They have not approached me recently for any assistance with getting them to the next level, which I told them I will be willing to support if they call on me to have any sort of assistance in achieving their goals. However, I've not gotten any feedback officially from them, and I would expect to see them at some point in May at the end of the 90-day period.
My next question is for Mr. Spencer. Can you give us an update about the fishermen who would have lost vessels during the last high waves?
Okay, what had happened with that situation is that the fishermen would have submitted their document, and those documents has to pass through the Marine Affairs and Fisheries Department, and then go on to the Chief Administrator for final payment. So the documents are at the office of the Chief Administrator at this time.
Okay. I know you mentioned about your development workers within the Division of Agriculture being paid outstanding monies. Can you give us a reason as to the cause for the backlog of payments?
Okay, basically what I was informed, it was a sort of external matter that directly created that impact on the accounting department of the Agriculture Department. And that issue was soon resolved, and The accounting department have given me the assurance that by the mid-next week, all outstanding monies will be paid to the workers.
How many workers are being affected?
Basically, around 300 daily paid workers.
I'm only asking this question because just before I came here, I was reading a commentary piece by Bikari, and he was talking about the Buka Reef and the surrounding area. And he said that the reef, the mangroves, and the wetlands of Buka, they're all in advanced stages of deterioration. What plans are being made by the Division of Agriculture to make sure that these areas are protected and sustainable over the long run?
Okay, basically, I just gave a general overview that plans are on the way. The Division of Agriculture, Marine Affairs, Marketing, and Environment, Tobago, THA, is in collaboration with the IMA at the national level, and they are in the process of coming up with a comprehensive structure as to the form of testing and the marking of the demarcation of the Buka Reef area, the preservation of the wetlands and the lagoon area. So it's in its teething stage. So as soon as additional information becomes available, I'll be happy to furnish you with that information.
Okay.
I would also like to add to that there has been a group of persons meeting, having stakeholder meetings. I think it's there's some group on the environment, and I can't bring to bear the name right now, but I have been in meetings with them, and we recognize that this challenge of our deteriorating beaches, our reef, and even the mangroves, it's not something that one sector can do. It is really about us as persons throughout the island, as persons within communities, who that becomes our border and our resources, understanding how we become involved in protecting what we have been given. And so I have been working with them and given the assurance that, you know, any programs we can utilize to facilitate the awareness of persons within communities, that we will be strongly working with them on.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for the week ending April 13th, 2013. I'm Umudara Mills for the Department of Information.